So I'm sitting here cleaning my teeth because I just had some chocolate, and I hope I don't have chocolate on my teeth to show you guys. Anyway, so back to the beads. So this necklace that I'm wearing is one of my newer designs, and I absolutely have been really on a roll with these long necklaces lately. Part of the reason is because they're so easy to wear, and they go with everything. Whatever kind of neckline you're wearing or whatever, you can work with it. So this is a very simple design, but it can be adapted to many different kinds of beads. In this case, these are 3mm Swarovski bicones that are the darker beads in the center, the sparkly ones, of course. What I did is I took, I think, 150 or so crystals, and this is actually 3 necklaces. I just kept doing this design over and over and over again, and look at this. 36 inches is what this worked out to be of necklace. So you can play with this in so many different ways. I had it doubled, where one was shorter than the other. You can certainly, you could tie it the way you guys have seen me wear my sparkle rope that I tend to wear tied. This one I tend to wear doubled like this. This one we made a little bit shorter, so it's kind of one that you can pair with this, and then you've got the 3 lengths that work. So you can make this whatever size you want. And then the other thing that you can do, of course, is, well, this one is probably just, but you can wrap it around your wrist multiple times. Okay, I'm doing a really crummy job of that, so I won't even finish. But anyway, you get the idea. So I think it's very adaptable to a lot of things. There's actually a little tiny tie accidentally. And we've done it in that colorway. This one is using the turquoise AB2X. I do have kits available for these 2 colorways on my website. So this is using the 3mm bicone, but you can also use 3mm rounds, drucks. I just bought a bunch of drucks, 3mm and 4mm, and they are now on the website at jillwisemandesigns.com for sale. So that's a really inexpensive bead that you can put in there. You can use 3 or 4mm fire polish in there, and you certainly can use the 4mm bicones also, which is what I'm going to show you how to do when I demonstrate just now. So let's take a closer look here at what exactly this looks like. Here we go. So it's just a little right angle weave unit right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. In between these little, shall we call them diamond shapes, where the crystal is in the center. And it's very, very easy to make. There's only about 4 steps that you're repeating over and over and over again until you get the length that you like. So the 2 kits that I have done both have the silver base on them. This is an example of what it looks like with a darker base. So on this one I went dark and then put it's kind of a dark green, and then put a medium green, that's a druck there in the center. So you can see the difference between the crystal, which sparkles, and the druck, which kind of has a kind of a pearl look to it. And what I'm going to show you right now is using the 4mm crystals. One other thing I wanted to show you, because one of the ladies in the Facebook group did this. This is the bedazzled bracelet, which there's a video for it and kits available for this. And what she did is she liked this look so much, she did in between these, she created this entire bracelet using this in between for all of these strands, which I thought was a wonderful idea. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to make one like that too, because I wear this bracelet all the time. I like the multi-strand look, and so it's a really nice, easy one to wear, and then doing it with this new technique will give me another look for this same concept. So I wanted to show you that you could adapt it that way too. So the only beads that you need here are 3 or 4mm, like I said, Swarovski, fire polish, rounds. We've used all of those so far in this project. And then you'll need some size 11 seed beads and some size 15 seed beads. And that's it. So we're going to start out by doing one of those really easy right angle weave units. So we need 4 of your size 11 seed beads, and you pull them down. You want to leave about a 4 to 6 inch tail, enough to weave back in later. You'll pass back up through all 4 of them, starting at the tail end. And then you're going to have to move 1 bead past the tail to turn it into, there we go, there's our pretty little right angle weave unit. And I just personally like to work on the opposite side of the tail, so I'm going to move forward by 2 beads so that my thread is coming out opposite the bead that the tail is. I'm a creature of habit. Okay, so now we're going to add our first crystal. So we're going to pick up a seed bead, a crystal, and a seed bead. If you are paying attention, what we're doing is just creating another right angle weave unit here, picking up 3 beads, and then there's your 4th because it's shared with the previous right angle weave unit. It's just that the one on the opposite side happens to be a crystal. So I've done that. Now you'll notice as I do this that my thread is coming across the edge of a crystal. Now I am using fire line, so that is, it's less likely to get cut by that sharp edge of a crystal. However, fire line can get cut and break also. So what I personally do is I reinforce this round every time, and then the next round when we're coming out on the other side of the crystal, I reinforce that round also. It's a lot of extra work, I won't lie, but it makes this more secure when you're using a crystal. So it's up to you whether you want to do that step or not, but just know it's less likely to break if you do the reinforcing round. So I'm going to go ahead and do the reinforcing here. So normally what I would do is just want to get out to the crystal to be able to add my next unit. But instead what I'm going to do is go out to the crystal and then go all the way around again through all 3 of those beads, the seed beads, and end by coming out the crystal. So it's basically like making that stitch a whole nother time, but having those 2 passes of fire line in there will make a world of difference. So on this edge, we're going to pick up 3 seed beads, because this time our shared bead is the crystal that we're coming out of. So 3 seed beads, go through there, and then again, because I want to do that reinforcement, I'm going to go through all of these again. You'll notice I'm kind of flipping it around just so that I can get the angle that I want. It's totally okay to do that. Okay, and then back through the crystal, and that puts me back where I wanted to be. Now what I need to do is I'm going to connect the 2 sides of the seed beads on the top and the bottom, but my thread's coming out of the crystal, so that means we're actually going to have to do an extra reinforcement pass through these 3 seed beads here. So really when you do the second reinforcement pass, you're really kind of doing 1.5, because you want to end up coming out of one of these seed beads here. Okay, so here's where this is going, because we're using this 4 mil, it's going to be slightly different than when I did the big long one where I was using the 3 mil. We have to put a couple extra beads in here to come across. So normally what I would pick up is a seed bead, an 11, a 15, and I'm sorry, actually I would pick up a 15, an 11, and a 15. So the 15s are on the other side. But let me show you. I'm just going to go through 1 bead here because I want to show you what that looks like with the 4 mil in there. It kind of covers the edge there, but it could be better. So what I'm going to do instead, because we're using the 4 mil, if you're using the 3 mil, that's what you're doing. If you're using the 4 mil, what I'm going to have you pick up instead is 2 15s, an 11, and 2 15s. And so what's going to happen is it's going to bow out a little bit more, that edge, but I think it's going to be a really pretty look. So there we go. And so we're going to, this time, because this is what I'm going to use, instead of just going through a single seed bead on the other side, I want to go through all 3 of those seed beads, because what I want to do is do the same thing on the other edge. So you'll probably have to do it as 2 and 1 to pass through it. So there's that. And there's the last seed bead there. And we'll pick up 2 and 1 and 2. And this time you're only going to have to pass through 2 of those seed beads because you want to end up coming out that center one of the set of 3. So there you go. It kind of gives it more of a diamond shape. I'm going to show you this side by side with this. So there we go. The 4 is definitely bigger. Personally, I prefer the scale of the 3, but if 4 is all you have to work with, then here you go. And you can, like I said, here it looks more like a flower, here it looks more like a diamond. It actually is kind of growing on me as I'm looking at it. I kind of like the real geometric look of that. But adding an extra 15 on either side is the only difference between the 4s and the 3s. Okay, so then you're just going to repeat those steps over and over again. So here we are, we're coming out the middle. We need to do one of these right angle weave units first that are all seed beads, so all the size 11 seed beads. So we're picking up 3, passing through the one we were originally coming out of, get to that outside edge so that you can add the next crystal. If you want to, you can reinforce that round and it'll really square those beads up. Then we are going to add the crystal. So to do that, you're picking up an 11 and a crystal and an 11, passing back through the bead you were originally coming out of, working your way out to the crystal. I'm really careful as I do this that I'm not pulling the thread really hard against the edge of the crystal as I'm getting it into place. We're just going to pretend that I went ahead and reinforced that round. After you've reinforced it, you'll pick up 3 seed beads, go back through the crystal, then reinforce it, and then you need to get down to the bottom here, or you can think of it as you just need to work it so that you're coming out of one of the the inside edge seed beads. So the way to do that is go around one of these wings. Then we're picking up the 2 15s, an 11, and 2 15s, passing down the 3 seed beads along one side of the crystal, which you kind of have to do in 2 passes here. And then repeat the 2 15s, an 11, 2 15s. Pass up through 2 beads so that you're coming out the middle. And there we go. We just did another repeat. So then it would be an all seed beads, right angle weave, and then you start adding the crystal. So you're just going to keep going. And one of the things that's very important to do is sometimes it's very easy to accidentally skip one of these all seed bead units in the middle here. And so periodically, every 3 or 4 units that you add, stop, take a look back, make sure that the spacing is okay. Because I've gotten as far as about 4 inches and then realized that I had accidentally skipped one of these all right angle weave units. And it's a pain in the butt to have to pick that back to that point to fix it. So don't let yourself get too far before you eyeball it, and make sure that your pattern is working out the way it should. So that is how you do the basic stitch. And then you have a choice of whether you add a clasp or you join the 2 ends together. So work on your project, kind of figure out what kind of length you're looking at, and then when you come back, I will show you how to join the 2 ends together. So is it like 5 miles long now? Because I love the really long ones. But no matter how long you made it, frequently you will want to bring those 2 ends together. I mean, if you made it long enough to go over your head, you'll want to bring those 2 ends together and not even have to deal with a clasp. That's another reason I think why I love the long necklaces so much, is because then you have no clasp issues. So let's take a look at how you would do that. I'm switching over to this blue-green colorway here for the little Barbie bracelet so we can bring the ends together. Let me talk first for a second about how you would attach a clasp if you wanted to do a clasp. You would want to end both sides with using one of these right angle weave units, and then you have this seed bead, the sticky outy seed bead on either end, and that is where you would attach your clasp. So usually attaching a clasp would mean just coming out of the seed bead, creating a little loop of beads into the clasp loop, and then reinforcing that area on both sides. So that's the easiest way to go about it. Let me show you how you would bring these two ends together though. You need to kind of get prepped for it here at this point. I've done the round where I picked up the seed bead, the crystal, in this case it's a druck, a seed bead, a druck, and a seed bead. And now on this end, I would normally pick up 3 seed beads. Here's what I'm going to do though. I'm going to pick up 1 seed bead, and then for the middle seed bead, I'm going to use this seed bead sticky outy on the other end, like so. And then 1 more seed bead. So there's my 3. I picked up 1, I went through 1 on the sticky outy on the other end, and I picked up 1, and then I come back through the center bead, whether it's a crystal or a druck or what. And there you go. So here's your set of 3 that was on that side, and here's your set of 3 on this side. And so now, again, you would just do reinforcing if you needed to. If you don't, what you just need to do is work your thread so that it's coming out one of the seed beads there so that you can do the embellishment loop from seed bead side to seed bead side. So here I am. Because this is a 3 millimeter, I'm just picking up a single 15, an 11, and a 15. And I'm passing through over here on this other side to get to the opening. We'll do the embellishment loop up there. So it's the 15, the 11, and the 15. And finish the connection. And there we go. Now Barbie has her necklace. For ending off threads or adding thread here, this is such a loose stitch that even just weaving back and forth probably, I mean, it would be okay, but you'd have to do a lot of weaving back and forth. So this one, I actually do go ahead and tie knots as I do that. And let me kind of just give you a quick overview. This is probably not ideal because this is dark. These are dark beads, but let me show you here. What I would do is, if I want to tie a knot here, I'm looking for a thread intersection. So I'm just bringing my needle underneath the threads that are there holding the beads together. I'm pulling it down, my thread through, until there's just a little bit of a very small loop left. The bigger the loop is, the more likely you are to run into trouble when you knot this. So you want to make the loop nice and small. Pass your needle through the loop. Doesn't matter whether you go back to front or front to back. And then when you tighten down nice and slow so that you can make sure that it's tightening right in that intersection and that it's not accidentally looping one of your beads when you tighten it. And then what I normally do is I will move a bead or 2 away. Let's move a couple away here. Kind of work over here. And now let me do another knot. So right here, I'm going to come right between the 15 and the 11. I know that there's threads already connecting those together, so I'm just looping I'm inserting my needle underneath those threads, bringing this down so it's a little tiny loop, passing my needle through the loop, and then tightening nice and slow so I can catch it if there's a problem. I just find tightening that slow instead of just yanking it makes such a difference. And then 2 to 3 knots is my rule of thumb. And I always move at least a couple of beads past the last knot, and then I'm ready to clip that off. And then I would just do the same thing with the tail thread, tie a couple of knots as I'm moving away, and then cut off the thread. And there you have it. So this is one of those projects that it can take a while to do, especially if you're making one of the really long ones. But it's perfect television watching project because you don't have to pay too much attention. It's very repetitive. Like I said, just visually take that look periodically to make sure that you haven't accidentally skipped one of those little right angle weave units, and you're good to go. I would love to see all of the color combos that you guys come up with and all the different beads you use in it. You can find me on Facebook, Jill Wiseman, or there is a group called Jill Wiseman's Beautiful Beaded Ropes, where there's thousands of us who are working on Jill Wiseman Designs projects, and we share all of the pictures and ask questions of each other, and when you run into trouble, there's always somebody there to help you troubleshoot. So it's a really good resource for you guys. And then last thing is, I just want to remind you, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down there. You don't want to miss out on any of the videos. I've got so much good stuff for you. Happy beading!